So, just recently, the new Suicide Squad film came out. The Suicide Squad, not to be mixed up with the 2016 horseshit mess. And I really enjoyed the film. And here I'm just going to talk about my general thoughts on the film. Because, like I said, I really enjoyed it, so it is a video. And I had things to say about it, so it is a video I want to make. So, let's just get into that with starting off with the spoiler warning, because there will be spoilers in here. So if you don't want to get spoiled for the film, I'd recommend leaving now. Spoilers in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's get into them. So first off, let's talk about the plot. The plot it's pretty good in my opinion. I thought it was pretty good because it's fairly simple, but I still really enjoyed it. It's a way to get the characters moving along because the characters are the main plot of this film. But after the basic generalized plot is that these supervillains are sent on this mission with under control with bombs in their skulls to take down, to like get into this military operation in Corto Maltese, I believe is and basically destroy the headquarters because there's information that the US military does not want out to the public. So they want the Task Force X to go and blow up this entire place and make sure the information gets destroyed. So from there we get all these characters and stuff, which starts off with these two separate teams, one of which almost entirely dies as a distraction, besides two members, Rick Flag and Harley Quinn. And then Task Force X Team 2 is on the mission to grab the to destroy the information stuff, though they have to grab Rick and Harley along the way, and a bunch of other different stuff happens, like they have to pick up the Thinker to help them break in. And then all this shit happens, including more character deaths. Because, like I said, there's a ton of people that die in that first 15 minutes on that first team. All of them but 2 die, and it's the bigger team of the 2. There's like a total of like 15, 16 members. And all but like 4 or 5, all but like 5 of them, I believe, maybe 6, are on that first team. So, leads to a bunch of people dying. And then later on, too, we get more deaths. A couple of which really touched me personally. But I'll get into the deaths later about what touched me and what didn't and stuff. But yeah, the plot worked in my opinion. It really set it forward to move it into motion, to get these character moments and all that, because this is focused more on characters just like the Guardians films were, which are easily the most comparable comic book films, since they're also James Gunn properties that are written and directed by him. And James Gunn is really great at writing characters. He is really good at writing characters. And let's segue that into talking about the characters. There are a lot of characters in this film. I'm just gonna go off the top of my head, because I normally plan scripts out for these because it feels a little more genuine if I don't. It feels like my thoughts are a little less filtered if I just talk about it off the top of my head. So, Rick Flag, the leader of the team, he was my favorite, one of my favorites of this movie. He was probably my second favorite of the film. Which is surprising because he's not that good of a character in the first one. But I really liked him in this movie. Which makes his death all the more hurting. And then we have Harley Quinn, who's the most popular. And I really liked her in this one. This is probably my favorite of hers. Of her 3 performances in the DCU, this is probably my favorite. I really liked her in this one. Although in Birds of Prey she was pretty good too, so it's pretty close between those two. And then the 2016 one, like, it's like this and like this, like the Suicide Squad and Birds of Prey. And then Suicide Squad's like down here, like below. Yeah, it's bad. But yeah, I really liked her in this one. I really did. I really enjoyed her in this one. And then Captain Boomerang is back, but barely, because he dies practically instantly. And Amanda Waller's back, obviously. And she doesn't do too much. She's annoying most of the time, basically. And then there's a shit ton of new ones. Like, Bloodsport is kind of the main character of this, and he was the one I really liked too. Really liked him in this movie. Ratcatcher 2 was another big one. I really enjoyed her in this one also. She was one of the ones with the most character development, along with Bloodsport. And then we have Polka Dot Man, who also has some characterization. He's my favorite character in this movie, so yeah, I really enjoyed him, and I really enjoyed David Dastmalchian's performance as Polka Dot Man. He was one of the standouts in my opinion. And then Peacemaker was pretty good too. He was, yeah, he's awful, but John Cena does a great performance, and he normally gives bad performances, so it's really cool to see John Cena give a really good performance. So I was really excited about that. Then we have King Shark, who is just like the comic relief, and I really liked him in this one. We have the Thinker, who was fine, I guess. He wasn't too big in this one. We have Blackguard, who I liked enough because Pete Davidson, but he's also kind of just a wimpy traitor, so he doesn't really do much. And then there's Mongal, who I didn't really like because all she really does is get people killed and then get herself killed, so she was annoying too. There's Weasel, who's hilarious. I love his death and then return. In this one, it was really funny. Savant, played by Michael Rooker. He's really just there to be Michael Rooker in the film. And then there's TDK, who's really dumb, but I really enjoyed that one as a joke. And then there's a couple of others, I believe. A few others, something like that. I can't think of them off the top of my head, so I don't believe... Oh, yeah, there's Javelin. Javelin's more important to the plot because Harley gets his javelin and stuff, but he's not really a character I remember that much because he doesn't do much besides give her the javelin, so I didn't really remember that much. But yeah, that's all I can really think of. There's probably another couple I'm missing. If so, whatever. And then there's Sol Soria, who's not part of the Suicide Squad, but she's got this rebellion going on. So that was interesting enough, I guess. I don't know. I wasn't the biggest fan of her, but she worked. She was serviceable. And then there's Starro, who's the main villain, and it's really cool to see someone like Starro in this big starfish being the villain of a big film. It was really, really interesting to see. But yeah, and then we gotta talk about the deaths. The one that touched me the most was easily Rick Flag's death, because he gets a really painful death too, so that really affected me also. Because it's this big battle, and then he gets stabbed in the chest, and that one hurt. That one really hurt. And then Captain Boomerang's really hurt too, because he gets skewered and then blown up, that one hurt too. And then Polka Dot Man, who has a pretty painless death, where he gets just slammed. But that one still really saddened me because he was my favorite of this film. And then a lot of the others I didn't care for necessarily. King Shark gets faked out for death like 50 million times, but he never actually dies. So Peacemaker gets a fake out death. Weasel gets a fake out death, which I thought was hilarious. Blackguard gets a death to like solidify that it's really gruesome. TDK gets an assumed death. Mongol dies. Javelin dies as he gives Harley the javelin. And then yeah, Savant dies because he gets his head blown off. But yeah, it was really violent, and I really liked that about it. I loved how violent it was. Loved how much freedom there was that way. But yeah, easily Rick Flag was the one who hurt the most death-wise. But I still did really like it. A few things of note otherwise, I really loved the cinematography in this one. I love how the camera's almost always moving. It's a really cool trick that James Gunn uses in this film, and I really enjoyed it. I love how violent the action is, how violent all of the action is. yeah, I really loved that about it, and so on and so forth. There's just a lot of really, really good things about this movie. Yeah, it was really enjoyable. But overall, my thoughts are this is a great movie, easily the best of the DCEU. So, solid, really solid movie, my favorite DCEU film, probably my favorite comic book movie also. So that's really cool, easy 10 out of 10. Really enjoyed it. But anyway, that's it for this video. Hope to see you all later. Peace out. In my DCEU ranking, someone brought up this Batman v Superman poster in the background because I rated it the lowest of the movies in the last video, so it is up no more. Throw that in the garbage.